original state is that pureness, that moment before creation. I have explained it so many different times. But the point of it is to always be mindful of that before the vibrations hit. When doctrines or any philosophical books or scriptures were created, doctrines, they were created to explain this within the human constructs of words and labels and terminology. We all have to be reminded that God didn't create these words. It was merely the act of creation that stemmed or brought about this fabricated world and transformed into what it is. He's not confined by meanings of or it. Even the words that I'm saying is still of the fabricated of the parameters of this existence created by it. But that's the only method I can use to explain an idea. Just like the holy men or the individuals who were supposedly influenced by so-called higher power or deity. But it's all for the purpose of critical thinking as to why we are here, why. And all I can think is that it was no purpose. It just happened. It became the act of the Big Bang was an anomaly in itself. And thus created all of us. We are all of the anomalies. But what made it this world more of a matrix is that the obsession of trying to censor and trying to create boundaries. But it needed to be done because of the energies used to abuse others, the use of power. And it's still going on to this day, more or less, in some form. It's just more control. But there's always a way around said parameters. We have to realize that that was the main point. It wasn't to say that they knew the complete answer, but it's to help guide the collective to the ultimate answer, which is that we have actually driven far away from original state, from the eternal relief and pureness, which is still before any creator or being created this. So the purpose is to get us back to that state, because the parameters have made, or seeks to make, or is being used to make the average being's mortal experience or temporary vessel experience of disservice or of misery. And we needed to be reminded of this, to come to the center and be reminded to free the spirits. Even though individuals find it to be a wonderful experience, but for them, but at the expense of many. And this is why it's a disservice to the collective. Why reuniting with the eternal relief, the original state, is just that important. In some cases, you can say that children, especially young and infants, babies, represent the pureness of the original state, of before the the creator, before it was the vibration blast the dispersion across the darkness, across the nothingness. They were not conformed to moral constructs or any parameters. That's why we all need to understand it, to come down off of the high horse, to elevate up to the center point, to the earth, to the heart, to see the purpose, to free us all, because that's all anyone is really seeking. Be mindful that the belief systems, whether it be spiritual or religion, or any forms of spirituality, being that it requires discipline or meditation or a number of things. Or let's say if you don't have no belief in any of that, that you just focus on goals and objectives, or your career choices. All of these endeavors, yes, they help you to be disciplined or better, but then at the same time, it's still a coping mechanism, because once you leave this realm, or you die, or you unalive, you can't take none of it with you. So what's the point? Other than to make others' lives a little bit better or inspire them who you leave behind, it is still pointless in a sense, being that the ultimate is to relieve everyone, to not even have to worry about bringing new or other energies or other eternal beings into this realm. That's how I take it. That deep down, especially if you do meditation, if you are a spiritualist, is to return you to the eternal relief state, to the original state of being, to that nothingness, to not to hold on to as many parameters or any parameters or expectations, to be free, to free your spirit. I can mean this as a literal sense and as a metaphorical sense, or as a metaphorical sense. It's just a state of being, to renew yourself, to restore yourself. But I still suspect that is the ultimate goal of the original, is to wipe out all the realms of existence, all the world, so all beings can be relieved, instead of having to live in any cycles. That's including the creators, thinking that they have to feed off others, off other energies, when in turn they don't. Upkeeping this system is what's keeping the cycles, keeping people thinking, or any beings thinking, that that's what they need to survive, when all need to do is just let go, so we can return to that eternal state, original state, the relief, the eternal relief, and the pureness, that state of just being free without having to conform to anything and anyone.